Hey everyone, I'm Candace. Thank you for joining my podcast tonight. It's me time. This is about you. Tonight, I want to cover a couple different topics that have been absolutely pivotal in my recovery journey as a survivor and as a human being having a spiritual experience within this really weird world. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. So, just diving into tonight's episode, I would like to start off with the definition of the word human, relating to or characteristic of people or human beings. And I would also like to touch on the definition of spiritual, relating to or affecting the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. And those two words are particularly important to me and where I'm at in my recovery journey right now, because looking at the word recovery, a return to a normal state of health, mind, or strength. And I like how those three words correlate together, and I'm going to tell you why. Because within my own humanness, I have been able to take a look at the things that I've gone through and the things that I've experienced and the things that I've witnessed other people put themselves through and other people experience themselves and come out on the other side in whichever way that looks like for them. And I have been able to take bits and pieces of like what they have that would benefit me and what not to do in certain cases for other people. And I think that that's just so important to talk about, because as a recovering a recovering person with substance problems and with trauma problems and with having this spiritual problem for a long time that blocked me off from the sunlight of the spirit. I had no idea what joy felt like because I was so busy numbing out from all of the other things that I didn't want to feel. Because for me, speaking freely, I had covered up a lot of fear and a lot of emotion and negativity and a lot of underlying feelings, such as, basically that little girl inside of me that just wanted to be loved. Um, I had I had covered all that up with things that didn't matter. And the whole phrase, I am not a saint, has been floating around in my mind lately. And so I took it upon myself to look up the word saint. And I think that this is relevant because a person acknowledged as holy or virtuous and typically regarded as being in heaven after death. And the reason that I think that the word saint is so important, because it wasn't being a saint is not some sort of mythical, fantasy, sci-fi, whatever label you want to put it, like a creature. It's a noun, it's a person, place, or thing. And therefore, I I can become it. I can attain those qualities. But how do I get there from a place of lack or a place of despair or a place of hurt because of resentment and bitterness and grief and shame? And I think that, if I can't be the only one that has struggled with that. And so to come to a place of enlightenment within myself has just been kind of like a long, treacherous journey. And if you're on your long, treacherous journey and you're not feeling God, you're not feeling protected by the divine, you're not feeling spiritually taken care of, there is a spiritual sickness that I found within myself when it came to the outcomes of my life because of my experiences. And once I started taking accountability for where I was at myself, um, it was a game changer because it allowed me to have the awareness to like self-reflect and to look at my part in things, and to also like reach out and talk to other people, because a problem shared is a problem halved. And it was pretty uncomfortable at first, learning to reach out and to let other people in, because those are two very different actions, um, that I had to learn separately. My depression and my anxiety stopped me from both reaching out and letting people in very different ways. And on one hand, I wanted to be acknowledged. I wanted the pain and the things that I had gone through to be recognized, and to have somebody to say it's okay. You're going to be okay. But I also wanted to be invisible. I didn't want to be looked at, didn't want to be talked to. I didn't want to be um, touched. I didn't want to be, period. And therefore, I was outwardly projecting anger at people that tried to love and nurture me, even though, maybe coming from a place of love, I didn't know how to accept it. And it's been really important to me to figure out who God is to me and what that means. Because when I first started cleaning out my act in my life and my sense of self, I had a really like confusing understanding of who God was. And, I had grown up in the church, up until a certain point, and, things kind of went sideways after that. And I felt like God was a very punishing, very cruel, very twisted sense of humor. I didn't understand why I kept waking up. I thought this was just all a cruel joke. Like, what is the point? And I felt like that for a long time. So not only did I not reach out to God, but I couldn't let God be there for me. And in turn, I was really blocking myself from any sunlight of the spirit. And I didn't even know it. So carrying on this way throughout life, even into recovery, and just not understanding why God would let this stuff happen to me, and like, what am I here for? I don't get it. Within loving myself, really diving into that self-forgiveness piece that I love to talk about so much, because that was truly the key, the self-acceptance, to cracking that door open just a little bit. And like, if you're somebody that can relate to what I'm saying, like, please leave a comment below. Like, let me know, reach out, so that like, we can recognize that we're all actually in this together, because we are all beings of God. We are all star seeds. We are all miracles in our own way. And we are not as unique as we think we are. That's the thing too, is like, when I stopped separating myself from other people, it allowed me to let God in more. Because for me, God speaks through people. He speaks through things. He speaks through animals. He speaks through love and actions of love and the right thing, and the feeling that I get when I'm healing, and the feeling of joy. Like, I remember the first time that I felt joy and bliss, and like these experiences that I've never felt before, because I had been numb for so long, that I had undoubtedly been numbing myself from both ends of the spectrum, the good and the things that I didn't want to feel. And looking back on it, and honestly, just having said that, I didn't think that I deserved the good. So it makes a lot of sense as to why I was so comfortable in the chaos of my humanness, because I didn't realize that I was a spiritual being having a human experience. And I didn't even know what it was like to be human. All I knew was just what I knew. And we don't do better until we know better. And so once I started learning better, I started being able to do better. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about this today, is because I am no saint, but I am a spiritual being having a human experience. I am recovering. I am returning to a state of being that is healthy. And that's a miracle. And if I can do it, I want to share that you can too, because nothing is impossible in the eyes of God. Look at your life, look at where you are, look at where you come from, look at the things that are going on around you. Like, everything around me is a manifestation of some sort of idea, some sort of creation, some sort of thing, realm outside of myself. And recognizing that I was spiritually sick was a great place to start, and to not only start to heal the things within myself, but I was able to, like I mentioned, share those with other people. And it gave me a gift. Like, it gave me the ability to be there for others as well, because in sharing things that I had gone through, and just even feelings at the time, and thawing out, and like, what is this feeling now? Like, even realizing that, I remember I did this anger thermometer thing. It was like the different degrees, and like, we had all these different words for anger, because I was learning about pissed off, I was learning about frustration, I was learning about irritable, I was learning about all of these different things, and like what they meant to me, and where they placed on the thermometer. What brings me to a 10, and what is, a little annoyed. And it's funny because I did this experiment with other people, and each of our words, our feeling words, were on different places within each of our thermometers. And realizing, like, even how the label of an emotion, or the name of an emotion, can mean something so different for me than it does for somebody else, was just something to take a look at and to think about. Because for me, it was just like, okay, well, what does sad mean to me? What does, jealousy mean to me? What does fear mean to me? And not only that, like, what does it mean to you? What does it mean to other people, and how has that played out in your life? Because I sure am willing to tell you about how it's played into mine. And so allowing other people to reach back when I was confused about my humanness and about this experience that I was going through, it was all brand new. And it was a place that, like, I never expected to be before. But it was really, unknowingly at the time, and looking back, of course, hindsight's 2020, it was really pivotal to me to start taking control of my human behavior. Because as much in control as I thought that I was, and that I wanted to be in for myself, I wasn't. And so understanding my humanness, letting control go of the things that I thought that I needed to grip so tightly, it gave me freedom to move into this spiritual space that had been waiting for me. And how beautiful is that? Like, it really started that pathway that I'd never been on before, and it's been so beautiful. And so I'm here today to talk about, my experience of that, because I've said it before, like, if I can do it, you can do it too. And like, I am by no means a saint. I am a human being, but I am such a proud spiritual being. And I think it's okay to say that I'm a proud spiritual being, because I don't think that the ego that had gripped me so tightly before in my life is alive today, because the best way I found to get rid of those things that don't serve me anymore is to let it starve. I had to let the illusion of perfection starve. I needed to let go of expectations of myself and others. It needed to starve. These things that I held on within me, the identifying with low self-worth and identifying with victimhood and with trauma and surviving all of that stuff. Like, I haven't watched my video on that. Feel free to go check it out. I can leave a link in the comments below. But identifying with those things, it just created a space for me to be able to let go of the reins a little bit. And with every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And I just love that so much, because in letting go of things, I was able to find such a clear vision in front of me for of like change, for things that for me to step into, like spaces for me to step into. And it washed away people that didn't serve me anymore and brought in people that are more helpful for my journey. And of course, people are recencies in our lifetime, right? And we all have something to learn from each other. I truly believe that. And I really believe that we're all just walking each other home. And so the best thing for me to do within my humanness is to create myself and rearrange my identity around what God wants for me. And it's been amazing. It's been really scary, but it's completely changed my life. The outcomes of doing things differently today than I used to do them before aren't, they're worlds apart. And I like to talk about like timeline jumping and growing into places that I never thought I would be. I am now an author. I write children's books. I am an inspirational speaker. I am a survivor. I no longer identify with my traumas. And these are all just a few gifts that I've been given through God by doing the next right thing. And I truly believe that the right thing and the easy thing, they're not the same. But gaining that clarity and washing away the pieces of me that blocked me from my purpose, blocked me from my ideas, blocked my creativity, like my God-given gifts and talents and skills. It repressed me. And it's just, I didn't even realize that that's what was happening at the time, because I thought that I was only harming myself. I didn't understand what it was like to put me first, even though all I had really done was put myself first. I loved the people in my life. I cared about them, but I couldn't figure out how to not bleed all over people that didn't cut me. And what a game changer it's been. It's truly a beautiful life. And, coming back to it, like, I'm no saint, but I am healing, and I am using my voice for good. And I believe that the more that I put into my life, the more I'm going to get back, because half measures availed us nothing. And I don't want a half measured life like I was living before. And I don't want that for you either. And that's where this podcast is coming in, because you're worth it, and you're worth putting the effort into, and you're worth taking a look at, and that self honesty, and recognizing where maybe could you be a little bit more kind and gentler with yourself. Because I used to especially in early recovery, I used to talk to my friends and be like, don't talk to my friend that way, when like negative self-talk would come about. And then I had to start recognizing that within myself. Like, okay, don't talk to my loved one that way, because somebody does love me just like somebody loves you. And that's where like negative self-talk and positive self-talk are so contradictory, but they're equally as important, because they play such different roles in our lives, and therefore like they produce different outcomes. And like how are you talking to yourself? Because your soul is listening. And if I'm not talking to myself and projecting myself in a way that serves my highest good to the best of my ability, of course, then I in turn am letting those around me down. And I don't want to do that today, because I've worked really, really hard to get to this place of like understanding that like putting myself first today looks very different. The more that I pour into my own cup, the more self-love, self-forgiveness, self-healing, like the more that light that I can bring into my humanness, it does lead me closer to God. And, not everybody's going to understand that. And that's okay. Because if God's there for them too, like Jesus loves us all. God created every single one of us. Whatever God looks like for you, God's got you. And you're worth putting the effort into and the light into, so that you can give back to those around you that maybe you've hurt out of your hurt. Because as I've said a million times, hurt people, but healed people heal people. And it's really, a lot of work to heal. Like, if it was easy, everybody would do it, but it's not. It's work, and it's swimming upstream, and it's loneliness at times. It's heartache, it's grief, and it's taking apart all of those emotions that I was mentioning earlier that I didn't want to feel. But feeling the fear and doing it anyways, feeling the anger and doing it anyways, feeling the grief and the heartache and doing it anyways, because recognizing that emotion is energy in motion in my body. And I have a choice today in how I want that to play out in my life. Because before, it could end up as a plethora of different things. And within those spaces of creating decisions in an emotionally charged state of mind, it created emotionally charged outcomes, obviously. But creating decisions in a calm and peaceful state of mind, recognizing that I don't have to have control over everything, it helps me have more peaceful outcomes. And the thing about, today's day and age, especially, we have so much access to the internet. There's so much information out there. Like, we have the opportunity to do better because we can know better. And it's the same for everybody. We're all humans. So the more that we can stick together in this weird life, the more that we feed off of each other's love. So instead of tearing people apart because of their healing journeys or tearing people down because of where they're at, like, I am here to like promote like building each other up and promote self-love and self-healing and self-forgiveness, because it has been such a vital part of my recovery journey. And I want that for you. I want that for your kids. I want that for your family. I want that for your siblings and for your parents. I want that for your abusers. I want that for people that have harmed you. And I don't, I'm still getting used to saying some of the stuff online, but like, it's okay to not hate other people. It's okay to like not hate the person that hurt you, because that doesn't mean that you're honoring yourself less. It doesn't mean that you're honoring the next person that they hurt less. It means that I have enough courage inside of me that has come from a place that is unseen. It came from a spiritual realm, and to be able to take something painful and project love from that is a freaking superpower. And so, as much as I may not be a saint, I have been able to learn how to turn like dust into like diamonds. And that's what I'm here talking to you about today, because you can do this too. You are a star seed, you are a moonbeam, and you are a child of God. And like, we are meant for so much more than the 3D world, the grind, the conditioning that they've placed upon us, because it's all a facade. And you're better than that. I'm better than that. Our abusers are better than that. And I want to say that, you're loved and that you matter. And it's okay to let go of the grip that is sometimes so easy to hang on to with identifying with being a victim or identifying with an experience or with somebody that may have harmed us. Because letting go of those things doesn't mean letting go of pieces of myself or yourself. It creates space for light to come in. It creates an opportunity for growth. And, I remember it being a little bit scary letting some of that stuff go. And I remember at one point thinking, like, well, who am I without it? Like, I don't even remember really myself before it. And I'm never going to be able to be that person again. So, without all of these external situations that have molded me into who I am, like, who am I without it? And, it's a scary little place to be that requires a big leap of faith to find out the answer to that question. Like, who are you without your trauma? Who are you without the abuser? Who are you without the experience and the victim mindset behind things? Because those are just experiences. That's not who you are. Like, you're a human. You're a spiritual being having a human experience just like I am. And although you may not be a saint either, you've got God in you, whether you like it or not. Because as much as I thought it was some sort of sick joke that I keep waking up every day, you keep waking up every day too. And the best advice and, thing that I could probably say right now is to find the gratitude, if nothing else, like being grateful for the ability to see, the ability to touch, the ability to taste, the ability, if you're not even happy with feeling things right now, the ability to have a shower, the ability to walk, like these things that I took for granted for so long. And, I'm sure I'm not the only one. And I just want to take a minute here because I did look up the definition of gratitude, and it is the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for, and to return kindness. So if, there's anything that like I can say right now is like gratitude is a quality of being thankful. Excuse me. And so if you're having a hard time feeling grateful, the readiness to show appreciation, like just a small like mustard seed of readiness, the small piece of willingness, of open-mindedness, of self-honesty, of being like, where am I at right now with myself and with God? Where am I in life? Because the devil owns the fence. And me personally, even on my worst days today, like that's not a place that I want to be. And in knowing that there is a different way to live, I have different opportunities ahead of me. I have the opportunities to make different decisions. And that's how we change the world, is by changing ourselves, is by taking care of ourselves, is by loving ourselves, and therefore healing ourselves and healing other people. So, I'm so grateful for this platform. I'm grateful for each and every one of you listening. I'm grateful for the messages and comments and, likes and shares and subscriptions and everything that I receive as a result of my own healing, because there were days where I didn't think that I would make it. I'm on borrowed time right now. I am past a point of where I thought I wouldn't be here anymore. I fully expected to just, and I was okay with being forgotten, but now I'm not. And that's the timeline jump that I've been talking about earlier about, we all have these opportunities to get out of the current timeline that we're in, whether it's with money, relationships, anything like mindsets, weight loss, weight gain. Like eating disorders are a really big thing. There's so much like trauma beyond the trauma, because the longer that we let it go, the deeper that it goes, because it just becomes a lifestyle. And I don't know about you, but I like having a choice today in what my life looks like and what I want my life to look like for others, like that are in my life, and to be setting an example for those that I love and care about to be able to do this for themselves. Like I want the people around me to love themselves and to be kind. And so, if you're watching this, I love you, and please be kind to yourself, and just remember that, God is love and kindness and compassion and patience and healing. And these are all qualities that we have within ourselves. That's the recovery, a return to a normal state of health, mind, or strength. And it's just all part of the human experience of being a spiritual being. So, with that all being said, I would like to thank you so much for listening to my podcast tonight, for showing up, for tuning in, subscribing, sharing. And please feel free to just shoot me a message, and leave comments in below, sharing where you're at so that other people can be a part of your experience too. Because like I mentioned earlier, reaching out and allowing people to reach back is such a profound statement and declaration of affirming to the universe that I understand the rerouting of the path that my life needs to take right now. And I'm here with you, holding your hand every step of the way. So I will see you next Thursday. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you have a beautiful day and be kind to yourself. Thank you for watching.